Hello students, welcome back to your English literature class. In your previous session, you had done the explanation of lines 38 till 92 of Act 5, Scene 1 of The Tempest. Today, we shall continue the same. By the end of this video, you will be able to understand the explanation of lines 93 till 129, understand the meanings of difficult words as used in the context, and understand related literary devices and references. So far you have read that as Ariel leaves Prospero, he muses on all that he has done with his potent art of magic and solemnly says that once his last task is done, he will break his staff and bury it in the earth and drown his books of magic in ocean. In other words, he is giving up his magic. Ariel arrives, dragging behind him a frantic Alonso, who is attended by Gonzalo, and Sebastian and Antonio with their attendants Adrian and Francisco. They all stand in Prospero's magic circle, charmed as Prospero addresses each of them. Prospero speaks to Gonzalo first and tears up as he thanks him for being his true preserver and remaining so loyal to whomsoever he serves. Prospero then chides King Alonso for treating him and Miranda so poorly and says that Sebastian too suffers for wronging them. Finally, Prospero comes to his terrible brother Antonio. Prospero reveals that Antonio plotted with Sebastian to murder the king, but he forgives them all. Prospero then notes that the group may not recognize him. He then asks Ariel to bring him his hat and sword which he used to wear when he was the Duke of Milan, so that they might know that the man before them is the old genuine Duke of Milan. So now, let us continue with the explanation of lines 93 till 129. Open your Tempest textbook at page number 154. Let's read lines 93 till 95. Ariel sings and helps to attire him. Him here refers to Prospero. Where the bee sucks, there suck I. In a cowslip's bell I lie. There do I couch when owls do cry. On the bat's back I do fly. After summer merrily, merrily, merrily shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs on the bough. Now note down the meanings of these difficult words. Sucks means drinks or sips honey. Cowslip. Cowslip is a little yellow flower common in England. Couch means hide or lie down. Cry means hoot. After means to find. Under the blossom that hangs on the bough means under the shade of the flowers that hang on the branch. So children, this song is actually an expression of joy. As Ariel is going to get his freedom, he expresses this joy in his song. Now children, in these lines, Ariel sings, where the bee sucks the juice of the flower or honey, there he also sucks it. He lies down in the bell-shaped flower called cowslip. There he remains, resting when the owls utter their cries. He flies on the back of the bat in search of summer, and he declares that he will now live happily under the blossoming flowers that grow on the branches of the trees. So let's read the gist of the text. As Ariel dresses Prospero, the airy spirit sings another pretty little song. The lyrics of the song reflect Ariel's anticipation of gaining freedom from service and being returned to the natural world. Now, what does the song mean? Ariel sings, "Where the bee drinks, I drink too. I lie in the cup of a cowslip flower. I sleep or hide there when the owls hoot. I fly on a bat's back, following the summer around the globe. Happily, happily, I will live now under the shade of flowers that hang on the branch." Let's continue with lines 96 till 101. Prospero. "Why, that's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee. But yet thou shalt have freedom. So, so, so. To the king's ship, invisible as thou art, there shalt thou find the mariners asleep under the hatches. The master and the boatswain being awake, enforce them to this place, and presently, I pray thee." Dainty means delicate. So, so, so is an expression of thanks. So, said in thanks. To means go to. Under the hatches means below the deck. Being awake means when they are awake. Enforce them means force them. Here it is used to mean force them. Presently, immediately. So in these lines, Prospero praises Ariel as his delicate Ariel. He says that Ariel will certainly live a happy and joyous life after being set free. He also says that he will miss Ariel and his service, but he will surely make him free. Then he thanks Ariel for helping him to exchange his magic garments for those clothes which show him as the Duke of Milan. Then he tells Ariel to go to King Alonso's ship, invisible as he is. There he will find the sailors sleeping in the ship's hold with the trap door shut, that is under the hatches. Prospero tells Ariel to awaken the master and the boatswain and force them to come here. And then he requests him to do this quickly. Now, let us read the gist of the text. Prospero praises Ariel by calling him dainty or delicate Ariel. He notes that though he will miss Ariel, the spirit will surely soon have his freedom. He tells Ariel to go to the king's ship in his invisible state, where he'll find the sailors asleep below deck. Prospero instructs Ariel to find the master and boatswain, who will be awake, and bring them there right away. Now let us continue with lines 102 till 106. Ariel. I drink the air before me, and return, or ere your pulse twice beat. Exit. Drink the air means fly quickly, or air means before. So in these lines, Ariel tells Prospero that he will fly speedily through the air and return before his pulse beats twice. Then he exits. Gonzalo. All torment, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Some heavenly power guide us out of this fearful country. Torment means oppressions or troubles. Amazement means a state of bewilderment. Inhabits means exists. Power means gods. And fearful means abounding in terror. So children, Gonzalo can see Prospero standing in front of him, but he cannot believe his eyes. So he says that this island seems to be cursed. They have here all that is painful, astonishing, and bewildering. He wishes that some heavenly powers were there to help them to get out of this dreadful or fearful country. Now let us read the gist of the lines. Ariel says to Prospero that he will fly quickly and return before his pulse beats twice, and then he exits. He refers to Prospero's. Gonzalo now expresses the amazement that has filled him at all the events of the last 2 or 3 hours. Remember, they have been on the island for the past 2 or 3 hours. He is slow to believe that the person standing before him is the long-lost Prospero or someone very much like him. In these lines, Gonzalo refers to the torment that Alonso, Sebastian, and Antonio had suffered, to the trouble that they all had gone through, to the wonder that the unaccountable happenings have caused to them, and to the amazement at the sight of someone like Prospero standing before them. He says that this is a strange place full of unnatural and supernatural things. It is a place haunted by torment, trouble, wonder, and bewilderment. He wishes that some heavenly power would guide them out of this dreadful country. Now, let us continue with lines 107 till 111. Prospero. Behold, sir, the wronged Duke of Milan, Prospero. For more assurance that a living prince does now speak to thee, I embrace thy body, and to thee and thy company I bid a hearty welcome. For more assurance means to convince you further. Thy company means your companions. In these lines, Prospero addresses King Alonso. He tells King Alonso to see him. He says that he is Prospero, the wronged Duke of Milan, in order to convince him that a living prince speaks to them at this time. He offers to embrace King Alonso, and he extends a hearty welcome or a cordial welcome to the king and his company. Now let us read the gist of the text. Prospero addresses Alonso and says that he sees before him the Duke of Milan, Prospero, who has been wronged. He says that he will embrace Alonso now so that he may know it's really Prospero, a living prince, talking to him. He heartily welcomes Alonso and his companions there, and then he embraces Alonso. Now, let's continue with lines 112 till 119. Alonso. Whether thou beest he or no, or some enchanted trifle to abuse me, as late I have been, I not know. Thy pulse beats as of flesh and blood, and since I saw thee, the affliction of my mind amends, with which I fear a madness held me. Note down the meanings of these difficult words. Enchanted trifle means an insignificant thing produced by magic, or a phantom summoned by magic. Abuse means deceive. Late means recently. Have been means have been deceived. As of flesh and blood means as the pulse of a human being. The affliction of my mind means a disease afflicting my mind. Amends means gets better. Held me means dominated me or overpowered me. So in these lines, when Alonso sees Prospero before him, he is unable to believe what he sees. So still finding it difficult to believe what he sees before him, he says that he cannot say whether the real Duke of Milan, that is Prospero, is standing before him or not. Whether he is just an enchanted trifle, or you can say whether he is just a shadow summoned by magic to deceive him in the manner in which he has been deceived recently. Children, here we are talking about the banquet scene where Ariel entered as a harpy, Then, when Prospero embraces Alonso, he says that he feels the pulse of Prospero beating in the same way as that of any real human being. And so he is convinced that this person may be Prospero. And then he says, "Since I saw thee, the affliction of my mind amends." That is, after seeing Prospero, he has been experiencing some improvement in his brain, which had become diseased and which he is afraid was being held by some kind of madness. This must crave, and if this be at all a most strange story, thy dukedom I resign, and do entreat thou pardon me my wrongs. But how should Prospero be living and be here? Crave means demand, and if this be at all means if this has any real existence, that is, I am not just dreaming. Entreat means beg. My wrongs means the wrongs I have done. So here Alonso continues. He says that he must humbly say further that if whatever is happening is real, whatever is happening is real, it is not just that he is dreaming, then all this constitutes a most surprising story. Then, as he is repenting, he decides to resign, or you can say he decides to give up his claims to the annual tribute from the state of Naples, which he has been taking, returns the dukedom back to Prospero. And then he requests Prospero to pardon him for all the wrongs that he has done to him. But then he wants to know, how is it possible that Prospero should be still alive and he should be living on this island? Now let us read the gist of the text. Alonso refuses to believe Prospero's words and asks for a proof whether he is really Prospero or whether he is some magic trick like he was recently subjected to. So we are referring to the mysterious banquet. As Prospero embraces him, he feels that Prospero's heart beats like that of a body made of flesh and blood. He also says that ever since he saw Prospero, he can feel his mind is becoming sane again, released from its earlier insanity. He wonders that there must be a strange explanation for this if it's true. He surrenders Prospero's dukedom and begs him to forgive him all his crimes. He then asks Prospero how it is possible that Prospero is alive and well and living on this island. Now let us continue with lines 120 till 125. Prospero to Gonzalo. First, noble friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honor cannot be measured or confined. Embrace thine age means embrace you in your old age. So turning to Gonzalo, Prospero says that first of all, he will embrace Gonzalo, who is old and respectable and whose honor cannot be measured or described. Gonzalo. Whether this be or be not, I'll not swear. So what does it mean? Gonzalo means to say that he cannot assert whether what he sees and hears is reality or illusion. Prospero. You do yet taste some subtleties of the isle that will not let you believe things certain. Welcome, my friends all. Taste means experience. Subtleties means deceptions or illusions. Things certain refer to things that are certain. So listening to Gonzalo, Prospero says that they are still experiencing some of the little quirks of the island, which makes so many things seem uncertain. The things which are actually certain appear to be uncertain. And then Prospero welcomes them all on the island. So let's read the gist of the text. Prospero turns to Gonzalo and addresses him as his noble old friend. He says that first of all, he will embrace him, who is more honorable than he can say. Gonzalo says that he cannot yet believe the evidence of his eyes. That means he cannot believe what he sees. Prospero replies that it must be the effect of the magic banquet that was suddenly placed before them and then as suddenly snatched away. He says that they are still experiencing some of the little quirks of this island which makes so many things seem uncertain. They have been so accustomed on the island to illusions that even now they take realities to be illusions. Prospero then welcomes all as his friends. Now let's continue with lines 126 till 129. Aside to Sebastian and Antonio, but you, my brace of lords, were I so minded, I here could pluck his highness' frown upon you, and justify you traitors. At this time I will tell no tales. My brace of lord means a pair of my lords. Brace actually means pair, so he refers to Antonio and Sebastian as a pair of lords. Minded means inclined. Pluck means put. Frown means fierce look. So this line, pluck his highness frown upon you, means draw the king's displeasure upon you. Justify you traitors means prove that you are disloyal to your king. Tell no tales means disclose any secrets. So when Prospero welcomes everybody, calling them his friends, he turns to Sebastian and Antonio. He says to the two lords that if he had so intended, he might have drawn upon them the displeasure of the king, of his highness or his majesty, and proved them to be traitors. But at this time, however, he does not wish to disclose any secrets. He does not wish to reveal their treachery to the king. Sebastian, aside. The devil speaks in him. So Sebastian speaks to himself. He says that it is devil that is speaking in Prospero. It is not Prospero who is speaking. Why is he saying so? Because according to him, when he and Antonio were plotting to kill King Alonso, nobody was there to hear them. Everybody on that part of island was asleep. Now let us read the gist of the text. Speaking so that only Sebastian and Antonio can hear, Prospero says that if he felt like it, or if he were so inclined, he might have drawn upon them the displeasure of the king that is King Alonso, and proved them to be traitors. But as for now, he will not reveal their treachery to him. Sebastian, unable to believe what he sees, speaks to himself that it is devil that speaks through this man, that is Prospero. Sebastian means that there is no possible means of Prospero knowing of their plot to kill Alonso. So Prospero must have got this information from the devil. So children, this brings us to the end of today's lesson. I hope you have understood the text that we have done today. Your homework for today is to solve the assignment given to you in your SNAP homework. Thank you.